we're back again. What's up, y'all? It's Dominique, aka That Therapist. I am the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice known as Yellowbird Counseling. And I am very, very glad to come and see y'all and service y'all every Thursday evening to help educate you so you could be a healthier, happier, more successful self, and you could be a more productive member of society in all things wellness and all things mental wellness. Okay. All right. So for those of you that don't know me, what I do every Thursday is I educate the general population on reasons that we need therapy outside of simply just having a mental illness, because my effort is to break the stigma. And if people think you only go see somebody and talk to somebody when you quote unquote crazy, then people aren't going to be getting the help they need. Okay. So I always say, if you're textbook crazy, you're not coming to see me. You're locked away somewhere. If you're the textbook definition of what y'all use crazy for, you're not coming to see me. So nobody who sees me is crazy. I'll say that. That's what I'll say. Most people that see me, well, it's half and half. Some people that see me come for therapy, which is if you have a mental illness or a diagnosis. And some people come to me for counseling, which is life coaching that your insurance pays for. So yeah, we offer therapy at Yellowbird and we offer counseling at Yellowbird. And all of us can benefit from one or both of them. I have some clients that get both from me, therapy and counseling. So if you want to know the difference and all of that, I did another live. You can go to my website, look at it, look through the archives of all the videos. But yeah, cool. So let's get started. So let me tell y'all about what made me. So my clients are the ones that really inspire me to do different talks. Ooh, my shirt was sitting kind of funny. So a client asked me a very good question one day. They said, what's the difference between a boundary and an ultimatum? And when I noticed that I stumbled and fumbled a little bit, I was like, that's something we need to go deeper with. Thank you. I'm going to be doing a live on that. So that's what happened. Because that was a really good question. And people use them interchangeably, and they're not interchangeable. They're two different things with two different intentions. So let me say that again. Boundaries and ultimatums are two different things with two different intentions. All right. So I'm going to explain the difference between the two. And you know that starts off by me giving a definition of the two so that we can learn and make sure that if someone tries to gaslight us and say, oh, you're giving me an ultimatum when it's really a boundary, because I have that happen to my clients when they set boundaries. People say, oh, you're giving me an ultimatum. No. I'm stating a boundary, okay? So they're different. So I don't want that to happen. And if you're the one saying, oh, you're trying to give me an ultimatum, then I need to tell you the difference between the two. So go on ahead and share this live on your page, because there's at least one person that needs to know what's the difference between boundaries and ultimatums so that they can be a healthier, happier them, or they can be enlightened and stop, negatively impacting other folks. What was that? And two, just educational to know why we need therapy, because every topic that I do, I bring it back to why we all need therapy and or counseling, which I just told you the difference between the two. Very briefly, if you want to know in more detail, it's like a fly that Derry let in. Mr. Carter, also known as Mr. Cardarian. So yeah, but anyways, so let's get to it. What are boundaries? Let's start there. And thank you for those of you watching on the replay. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate your presence. I greatly appreciate your support and your feedback. So please leave it. All right, down here in the comments. All right, so what are boundaries? Boundaries are a dividing line. They separate one thing from another thing, okay? They separate, and as far as it's concerned with relationships, it's where you stop and the other person begins, okay? So that's what a boundary is. A boundary forms a limit of some sort, okay? Because everybody has a limit. We all have limits, regardless of if we try to be the martyr. Martyrs aren't healthy. They're not healthy. They have overextended themselves, but everybody has a limit, and we need to be aware of those limits, and we need to be sure that we make other people aware of those limits so they can decide how much they want to be in our life or not, and we can decide how much we want them to be in our life or not based on our limits, okay? Also known as our boundaries. A lot of people don't know how to develop them, so that is something that you could come to me for, and I help you develop boundaries for your individual life and situation, because everybody's boundaries are not the same, and boundaries are flexible, so I can help you to understand when your boundaries maybe can be a little flexible for your particular life and circumstance. So that's a counseling thing. So if you need that kind of input, please call us. We will get you straight, okay? All right, ultimatums. Let's get to this. What's an ultimatum? An ultimatum is a final demand, all right? Hadn't said anything about limits necessarily, but they're a demand, okay? While a boundary is not a demand, it's just a limit. An ultimatum is an actual demand, all right? A statement of terms, and then if you reject whatever the statement of terms is, there's some sort of retaliation or threat. So that's the difference, okay? Right there. Boundaries are a limit that you implement proactively, and we'll talk more about that. Ultimatums are something that you do reactively, all right? And they pose some sort of threat or some sort of breakdown that's undesirable. It's more of a last-ditch effort without any prior proper conditions, okay? Any prior proper communication of those conditions, okay? So there we go. Let's talk more about it. So boundaries, again, I said they're preventative. So boundaries are something that you state up front and maintain throughout. Write that down. Boundaries are something that you state up front, okay, and you maintain throughout. So if you're stating your boundaries up front, you're sticking to those boundaries, then a chance for an ultimatum doesn't ever get to present. But I realize that stating the boundaries up front and maintaining them are hard. So that is why people like me exist, all right? That's why therapists exist, to help give you counsel through how to, one, establish and state your boundaries for your specific situation, and how to maintain those boundaries for your specific situation, so you're not ever put in a position where you have to feel as though you need to give an ultimatum, all right? So make sure that you state your boundaries clearly and concisely. Be sure the other person understands. But again, with a boundary, it can be flexible. So let's just say, for instance, let me see. Y'all know how I am with these examples, because I don't want to be using examples of like real life stuff, because chances are it's a client and I don't want to do that. So I'm trying to make up something literally off the top of my head. But okay, so I'll just use myself. All right. So up front, boundary that I have is, in order for me to have a close relationship with you, like dating or a close friendship, you have to be in therapy or have gone through therapy and be in a stable state. Okay. I state that up front. Now, if I was making an ultimatum, I would already be in this relationship would have never stated what my boundary was and say, you need to get in therapy or we're breaking up or I'm not ever talking to you again. That's an ultimatum, all right? That's without any prior warning, without stating my boundary up front. I just pop up on you once you get on my nerves and say, you need to get in therapy or we're done, okay? So that's not fair. That's an ultimatum. But for me to meet you and say, hi, my name is Dominique. Hello, so-and-so. Just so you know, let's just say it's a date. I do expect that the people that I date be in therapy, okay? So if that's not something that you're willing to do, that's totally fine. Live your life, do what you do. But I'm just stating that to you up front. Like, that would be one of my boundaries, okay? But to say, if you don't get in therapy by tomorrow, I'm gonna never talk to you again. That's an ultimatum. All right. You see what I'm saying? You see the difference? One is a demand and one is just not even a request, but one is just saying where you stop and another person starts. So outside of the confines of a relationship where both of us are in therapy, I don't operate outside of those confines. Not when I'm a whole therapist myself and I got 3 therapists, okay? I got an EMDR therapist, I got a regular weekly talk therapist, and I got a massage therapist, okay? So if I got 3 therapists and I'm a whole therapist myself, I expect for the people in my life to at least have 1. You don't even got to go as much as me, all right? I'm getting 1 type of therapy a week, all right? And I love it. I just love it. And my clients appreciate it because it allows me to be more present for them. I just jump in. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm talking about boundaries versus ultimatum. So my clients appreciate it because I'm a healthy professional. I'm able to work with them. They don't have to experience any type of transference or counter transference or anything like that from me because I'm aware of my things. I'm actively working on my stuff. Okay. So when you're doing that, when you're aware of yourself and you're working on yourself, then it's very important that you're only dealing with other people that are aware of their self and working on their self, because it causes tension if you're not. I always tell couples, I say, and I'll tell them, like, an individual that's in a couple or a couple that's not an individual, I'll say, if you're not working on yourself and this other person is working on their self, it's going to be a damage to the relationship because you got one person growing, the other person staying stagnant. Do you see how there will be tension there? You see how that's tension? Why is there space between y'all like that? Because one person is working on their self, the other is not. So y'all is not seeing eye to eye. Y'all see how y'all are on different levels at that point? You see how you're on different levels if one person is working on. So I'm very honest and tell people, hey, listen, if you're in this couple and you're coming to see me to better yourself and your partner's not, it could cause problems. It's got to be an informed consent thing. I got to let you know. Now, if they're both in couples, but not an individual, I also have to be honest and say, if y'all aren't working on yourself, then the couples therapy is going to be ineffective because y'all both are equal parts of this problem. And I'm only here to work on the couple. So you need to be with another therapist working on yourself as an individual. So that way we can bring together what you guys are doing individually. That's what couples do. All right. And then individually, if I'm seeing someone in a couple as an individual, I'll say, ask your couples therapist what you need to bring back to me and what's your part of the problem that we need to work on. I tell all my clients that. All right, y'all are in couples. Make sure you get from your couples therapist what we need to work on, okay? So forming boundaries with my clients so that they can form boundaries for themselves, so they can be happier, healthier, more productive, peaceful humans, okay? So again, a boundary is something that you stay up front and maintain throughout, All right. And also, it can be flexible. So, an ultimatum would be, like I said, if I meet you, you're not in therapy, I just immediately get up and walk off. But a boundary would be, hey, this is my expectation. If the person so chooses on their own to go get therapy, cool. If they don't, then I don't have to make a demand. I could just do what I already said I was going to do. I can't be involved in that relationship. But they knew that up front, okay? Ultimatum is more sudden. A boundary, again, is communicated up front and maintained throughout, clearly and concisely. It's important because a boundary is where you stop and the other person starts. An ultimatum is just a demand that's associated with a threat, okay, of some sort. All right, good. So, let's see. So usually when a person makes a ultimate, like when they bring an ultimatum to the table, they're desperate. Again, boundaries are preventative and ultimatums are reactive, okay? So boundaries are preventative, ultimatums are reactive. So if you've stated your boundaries up front and maintained them throughout, you shouldn't get to a point of desperation. So if you're in a point of desperation, that means you probably didn't have any boundaries to begin with. And that's how you got yourself in a desperation type situation, okay? The other person should know. And it's, sometimes it's, circumstances where maybe you did state them up front and maintain them and the other person just pops up with this new problem and they refuse to work on it. That can happen. However, I was talking to a client and one of their boundaries was they didn't want people to lie to them. All right. So if you lie and it was stated up front, you don't like when someone lies to you, even if you did everything right, but then you told a lie, that person already told you they don't do lies. So if you lie, that's not an ultimatum. That's the ticket, And a lot of people are like that. Honesty, they hold very near and dear to them, as they should, especially if they're communicating honestly. They should expect that. So if someone breaks your trust by lying to you, you have a right to exit stage left if you want. You have a right to exit stage left. But if you stay and continue to let this person lie to you and then give them this egregious demand, then again, you're an equal part of that problem. You should state your boundary. I don't like for people to lie to me. I can't be in a relationship with people that lie to me. That's a boundary. And maintain it throughout. So if they lie, you already told them what you need to do. You need to actually keep your word. And that's the hardest part, is maintaining the boundary. And that's what, again, me and the other therapists on my team, that is what we're here for, to help you not only establish a boundary, state a boundary, and maintain a boundary. An ultimatum is out of desperation. It's at the last minute with no prior warning. Okay? So again, how do you keep yourself from making ultimatums? First of all, what I just said, state your boundary, maintain it throughout, state it up front, maintain it throughout. But also, you can give someone a warning. If they pop up with this new behavior that you don't like, after you've stated your initial boundaries, you can say, hey, so-and-so, I really don't like when you fill in the blank. I cannot continue in this relationship, whatever the relationship type is, if you continue to fill in the blank. So now you've given them a warning. So now it's their choice. See, with a boundary, the person has a choice. With the ultimatum, they don't have a choice. All right. So now the person has a choice. Do they want to continue in this behavior that you've stated that you don't like, or do they want to change it? All right. So if they choose to change the behavior, then cool. That's where your boundary be flexible, because, they'll say, okay, I'm going to go to therapy to work on this because I can't, it's deep-rooted issue, a pattern, a habit that I have that I need help breaking. Okay, in that case, the boundary is still that you don't like fill in the blank. But if the person is actively working on it, then you can flex that boundary if it'll serve you. You know what I'm saying? All right. Compromise. There has to be a compromise. With the ultimatum, there is not a compromise. Okay. And I'm not talking about compromising your boundaries, but in a relationship, there has to be compromise. Both people have to meet in the middle. Where, okay, let's say my boundary is I want to be taken on dates at least 5 times a week. Well, let's say that my partner, maybe they can't afford 5 times a week, okay? But they could do 2. All right, well, that's where we can meet in the middle. All right, I'll take 2 days a week. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily have to be on and go on dates 5 times a week. I could go 2. Let's do them on the weekend. That's a great time. That way we have something to look forward to during the week. I know I'll get my 2 dates this weekend. Can't wait to see what they are. You know what I'm saying? So that's an example. All right. But an ultimatum would be more like, if you don't take me on 5 dates a week, we're done. That's an ultimatum. All right. You better start taking me on 5 dates a week starting this week or we're done. That's an ultimatum. A boundary would be, I want to go on dates weekly. All right. I want to go on dates weekly, and the compromise comes in where y'all decide how much, how many, like when and how many. So then that's where it can be flexible. Would you like to have 5 times a week? Maybe so. But if 2 is more realistic, then you're willing to compromise and get that. All right. Good. Should you ever compromise a hard boundary for your comfort? No. So if you don't like, y'all know one of my boundaries is I don't like veiled humor. And that's where you say, oh, girl, I was just joking. I was just playing. I don't like that. Don't just play. Do not just play with mean statements with me. I do not like that. All right. If you're talking about me in a malicious manner, or if I'm just playing, no, I don't like that. All right. We're not going to do that. And so I'm not going to budge on that. I'm not going to be like, well, you could do the veiled humor once a month. No, you can't do it at all. That's a hard boundary. Will not budge on that. Okay. I won't, because I don't like it. It gets on my nerves and it's childish. And it's an indicator that person is not healthy and they have things that they need to work through. If they find joy and pleasure and can jovially say mean things about somebody or hurtful things, I don't need to be in contact with you. I just don't. So an ultimatum also is presented forcefully with no alternative. Like I said, there's no compromise. It's just you better do this by this time or this threat will happen. This by this time or the threat will happen. A boundary is I state it up front before anything ever happens and I keep my word throughout. So you see how they're different? Let's see. What's another thing that you can do to keep yourself from making an ultimatum? Clarify why the behavior is harmful. Do that. If you clarify why the behavior is harmful up front and why it's important for this person not to do that behavior or to do a behavior that you need them to do, then cool. But if you don't state it up front and just pop up and say you better start doing this right now, that's an ultimatum. State it up front, maintain it throughout, that's a boundary. But always be clear as to why that behavior. And people are like, I don't gotta explain myself. That's another thing. No, you don't have to explain yourself, but you do have to clarify what your expectations are. Do you need to, like, if you say, I can't go to this event on this day, do you got to explain why? No, just saying no should be enough. All right. But the fact that you communicated it, don't just not show up. That's tacky. Don't just not show up. If somebody invites you somewhere and it's somebody that you have a close relationship or a relationship with, doesn't necessarily have to be close, just a relationship with, and they invite you somewhere you don't want to go, just say you don't want to go. Don't not respond, because that, that's tacky. All right. Respond, say, I don't feel like it. And if they're like, but why? That's when you don't have to explain yourself. If you say, no, I can't, it's just no, I can't. You communicated your boundary. You can't do it. And then you don't have to explain anything else after that, because it's not their business unless you want to share it. Just don't not respond. It's so tacky. Cool. Let's see. So what's an indicator of somebody that may not have boundaries? And I'm not going to go too deep into that, because I already did another live on exactly what boundaries are, how to establish them, how to maintain them, and things that I do with my clients, to help them. So I have done a live already on that, so I'm not going to go into much detail, but here's some pretty big things. If someone tells you their whole life story up front, they get too close to you too fast, if they fall for you too fast before knowing anything about you, that's an indicator of somebody that doesn't have great boundaries. What areas of your life do you need to set boundaries? You need to set boundaries around your physical, your emotional, your mental, and your time. Those are the areas that you need to establish boundaries around. You need to establish boundaries around your physical, around your mental, around your emotional, around your time, and then throw in finances in there too. So we'll just say 5. Physical, emotional, mental. Physical, emotional, mental, time, and finances. Those are at least the 5 areas that you need. And that's very general. That's why you would come to someone like me to help you more clarify those a little bit more. Cool. What y'all thinking? Oh, spiritual. You're right, Tanya. She's right. Spiritual. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, and time. 6. Thank you. That's very good. I can't believe I left that out. But that was a good one. Thank you. So, what questions do y'all have for me? What questions? I like this one. It was real concise. You know what I'm saying? I got to explain it to y'all, because people are getting gaslit when they state a boundary. Are you going to be an ultimatum? No, it's not. Now, if you are giving an ultimatum, that's different. What's a good way to start having boundaries? What's a good way to start having boundaries? First, the thing you want to do is establish what they are. You want to know what they are. And you can't really know what your boundaries are unless you know yourself. And that could be a journey, okay? You don't know where you stop if you don't know yourself, because you don't know your limits. So, of course, being in therapy is a real good place to start. But if you know who you are and you can, put some stuff on paper, do it. But establish boundaries around those 5 areas. Think of those 5 areas. What are your boundaries? Another thing that I like to do is I have clients do a particular exercise where we do it for 4 different areas. We do it for friendship. We do it for family. We do it for romantic relationship. We do it for job and work environment. We make boundaries lists. So a good way for us to start that is we make a list of whatever the relationship. So let's just say it's romantic, because that's where most people think about boundaries, even though you can have boundaries in other areas. So what does that ideal person look like? What's absolutely every single thing you want in a person, down to the smallest detail? What is that? All right. If you could just rub a lamp, a genie comes out and gives you 3 wishes, and one of them is for your most perfect mate, what does that person look like? Your second wish would be, how would that person treat you in the most ideal circumstance? Like if they did absolutely everything that you needed them to do for you, wanted them to do for you down to the last detail. So you got 2 ideal lists here, pie in the sky. Okay, 2 ideal lists here. So how do we add reality to that? Because obviously there's not going to be a single person that's going to be absolutely everything we want. But we gotta get our expectations. We gotta put boundaries around our expectations. So you go through both lists. Next to each item on both lists, you put negotiable or non-negotiable next to each item. So then that's where you start your boundaries. So it's like, the negotiables would be nice to have, but I don't have to have them. But the non-negotiables are what you absolutely have to have. Like you absolutely have to have respect, honesty, clear communication, like stuff like that. But then you might say, I would like tall, dark, and handsome, but if he's medium height, brown skin, and handsome, I can deal with that. Then that would be negotiable. Does that help? Y'all, please be sure to share this live as well. Please be sure to share. And any other questions? Y'all got any other questions? I feel like I've been talking a lot. I got water. I had to look because there's something flying around and I don't want it in my water. That's a boundary. I don't want whatever that is in my water. Mr. Carter let some sort of fly or something in. I figured out how to keep him from barking too, by the way. I feed him earlier and leave him out so he can eat and potty. And then he comes in and now he's asleep. He's been out all day though. In the backyard, just running around, doing his thing. He'll take a nap in the chair out there. And now he's just in here sleep ready for the night. I'll probably let him out one more time before I go to sleep and it'll be cool and he'll sleep. So, just like a baby, you got to figure out how the dogs work, the animals. I don't like cats, but cats are more self-sufficient. But Mr. Carter is now sleeping. So that's why he's not bothering us like he was last week. Any other questions? He's tired. Yeah, he is. Him a tired baby. He's tired. All right. If y'all don't got no other questions, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Lakira knows. Why does Lakira know? Because Lakira is on the newsletter. That's why she knows. So if you know, you know what time it is. What time is it? It is $100 Cash App giveaway. Which we don't even got a new number generator because Lakira is the only person that did it. She's the only person that did what she was supposed to do because she's on the newsletter, so she automatically gets the money. And I don't know, she's won so many times. You see what following an instruction gets you? You see what all she did was subscribe to the newsletter, and all she had to do to subscribe was on the newsletter link, she just put her email address. Then she gets the newsletter every month, and she knows at each time I'm going to do the $100 Cash App giveaway. All right? So let me send it. I'll be back Instagram. I got to have my phone so I can send the Cash App. Hold on. So I'm just going to go ahead and send it to her. But if you know, you know, and she always knows. So she loves the newsletter. See, it's other things in there too. So if you're on the newsletter, you have a chance to win the money. And you have a chance to get other great content as well. So let's see. There we go. Congratulations again, Lakira. Let's see how many she's won. I'm about to look. Okay. Yellowbird Counseling. Congratulations for Yellowbird Counseling. Goes to Lakira. Again. Boom. All right. She got the $100 right in time for the weekend so she could get her outfit to go out to one of the new lounges. All right. Let's see how many she won. Serious. I want to see because she wins like all the time. Lakira has won. Let's see. She has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. She's won 5 times. $500 just because she's on the newsletter. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. $500. All right. So y'all want to get on this newsletter. Think of how much you could do with $500. It's a no-brainer. She got it, guys. It came through. It came through. She was able to get it. You're so welcome. She could start her kids a college fund with what she gets if they're not already in college, if she has kids. I think she did say, you said you had kids when we was doing the back to school live, the back to school during COVID live. I think you did say you had kids. So they're probably school age. So she can start her kids' college fund with what she went off of me, and I do it every Thursday. So she could save her other money for whatever else she want to do with it. But congratulations, girl. Congratulations. The rest of y'all need to get on that newsletter. She says she got 2 boys, see? And they probably do sports and stuff, activities, So one less thing for her to have to worry about. So y'all want to get on the newsletter, get on it. So you'll have an opportunity to win. Don't let her win the next time because y'all didn't get on the newsletter. All you got to do is go to yellowbirdcounseling.com. And as you scroll, it'll pop up that you can join the newsletter. So just go to yellowbirdcounseling.com. Put in your email and you're done. You'll get the newsletter. You'll know exactly when I'm going to do the Cash App giveaways. Go to Yellow Bird, all one word, not Yellow Brick. Some people, I don't know, they hear me say that. But it's yellowbirdcounseling.com. And you could just scroll and it'll pop up on the main page. Join the newsletter. So just join the newsletter. That's it. Then you're done. You wait for the newsletter to come. You look on the live schedule and you see when I'm doing the money, and then you'll know exactly what to do. And so you can win. Any other questions? She said, yes, Lord. Glad I could be of help. Y'all got any other questions? All right, well, we're going to be back next week, and myself and Janice are going to be talking about relationship patterns. Actually, Janice and I'm just going to be, facilitating the live, but she's going to bring us information. Why did I just pull up Credit Karma? Crazy. But she's going to be giving us information about relationship patterns and things of that nature. We had to postpone it because I wanted to talk about grief because so many people were losing people. So that was in August. We were supposed to do it, but then we just switched it to this month because I felt like it was kind of an emergency to talk about grief since so many people were losing people. So we did that and we just moved this one. So that just happened sometime. Oh, crap. Dang, I just left Instagram off. I forgot. So it probably won't even save. That be happening sometimes. Oh well. All right. Well, they'll just have to figure it out, I guess. All right. Well, I'll see y'all next Thursday then. Bye.